You're listening to When Veins Meet Like Rivers. Katinniq, okizata, maadawaan. The podcast expanding on the meaning and behind-the-scenes creation of the exhibit by the same name, hosted by the Plug In ICA. It's a podcast about survival, desire, and kinship. It's about the places where we crash and flow into each other. It's about how and what we resist and submit to. I hope that you enjoy our offerings. Hello, katinniq here. Today we are bringing you an extra special final episode of When Veins Meet Like Rivers, the podcast. Rather than talking about the making of the exhibition, today we have a look from another angle, how the exhibition is experienced. I'm speaking with Nate and Clary, who took part in a month-and-a-half-long contemporary art program hosted by the Plug In Institute of Contemporary Art and Just TV. Please welcome Nate and Clary.
I'm a 17-year-old artist slash activist, sort of. I'm very involved in advocacy for homelessness and housing right now in Winnipeg. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. And then we also have with us today Clary.
Hi there. So this is Clary, and I'm 19 years old. I was born in the Philippines, but I kind of grew up in different countries. And now I'm in Canada, and I've been taking opportunities here that makes me grow as an artist. And I've been able to make art through CBC and Just TV and now Plug In. And I hope you guys enjoy the podcast.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I was wondering, how did you end up at the plug-in I can't remember what it was called.
I think Interrupting Youth.
Yeah, that. Yeah. I was wondering if that's a cute story or...
I think it is.
Yeah?
Yeah. I Clary, do you remember it?
You could start, Nate.
We could start there and then we can see where that takes us. So
yeah. Basically, I remember being really, really nervous because I like art, but I've never really been to a super fancy modern art gallery type thing. So I was really nervous because I was I don't know if I'm the kind of person that's supposed to be here. But I got invited by Hera to go, and I was there's gonna be one person I know, and then I'm just gonna meet a bunch of other people and we're gonna talk about this exhibit. So that's exciting. And yeah, I just I remember everyone showing up and everyone being really cool, especially Clary, because Clary's outfits always go so hard. So I remember being I should have put together something more artsy, but I didn't. So I was but it was really, really cool. And I was definitely out of my element, but also really excited just to be doing kind of something new, I guess.
When I met you though, I was I really loved your hair because it's like rose metallic rose or something like that.
Oh yeah, it was sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, it was sort of a rosy color.
Yeah.
And
I love the shade.
I love your hair too. I actually just dyed my hair a very similar color.
I see.
Yeah, I love your hair. I remember seeing your hair and being oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and you were the one who said that I was Claire from the Breakfast Club, right?
Oh yeah, because you've got like all the like the pink clothing, the pants, and then the hair. Yeah, that was totally the vibe. That is totally the vibe. That is still very much the vibe.
So for me, I got into the program in Plug In because Hera, the the girl in Just TV, Nate and I were in that program as well. What was it called? Youth Creators Club or After School Leaders?
I was in After School Leaders
Yeah.
for music production and like creating a music video and stuff. We weren't in the same group, but we had both been in the same like program. So we both had like Hera as a contact and stuff.
Yeah, so technically Hera was our kind of person that bridged us together as well to Plug In.
Yeah. I love her so much too. Like
me too.
She's so awesome. And she also participated in a previous year.
Oh yeah. In Plug In as well, right?
For the same program.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, so Hera was the one who told me about Plug In, like while I was doing the Just TV program, and she was like, because I was doing a piece with Just TV that was somehow contemporary as well, and then she was like, I think you'd be great at this program as well in Plug In, and then at that time, I mean, even now, I'm like, I love going for opportunities that are presented to me. So I was like, yeah, I'll go and do that program as well. And then it was kind of delayed a bit because of the pandemic happening and all. But I got contacted again, like at the near end of last year. And that's when the program started up again. I think, was it like October, right?
Yeah, I think around then.
Yeah. Because I remember I was just starting school as well. And then there was this thing at Plug In, and everything was pretty new to me at that time, and I was just experiencing a lot of new things, which I love.
Yeah, same.
So at the first,
sorry, I keep cutting off. It's not.
It's all right, Nick.
I'm bad at navigating conversations. I'm sorry.
You can go first, though.
Okay. Well, basically, all I was gonna say is just like, I love new things and like being made uncomfortable or being introduced to things that I'm not used to, because I get bored of things that I'm used to really fast. So I was like, okay, this is good. This is what I like. I like new things and I like new people.
Yeah, I could relate to that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I definitely, like, one of my primary practices that I do is filmmaking, and the reason that I love it so much is because it starts with like research, and then it becomes writing, and then it becomes like producing. So all of a sudden you're in production and you're like filming and thinking about the camera, or else you're like going through images and trying to put them together. And then you also have to think about music, and like sometimes there's more writing if you're doing like a voiceover or something. And so it's just like, because there's so many things to work on. I love film because it's hard to get bored because you have to be able to learn how to do so many different parts of it.
Yeah,
I think that's what's great about art. Like, there's so many stages of creation that you never really have a time to be stagnant. You're just always going and going. And even if you get bored of some things, you just find other things to do.
Yeah, I also like exploring different mediums a lot. Just like I've always loved like mixed media things and just new things in general. when it comes to art is always really exciting to me. So just like learning as much as possible about all different kinds of art is like, I just love it, because then I can like explore if I want to like incorporate that into my art at some point or something. And it helps me like get new perspectives and stuff. And I really like that.
Yeah, and especially when we got into that program at Plug In, it was like opening new doors for us, because for me at least that was kind of new, because even though I my art is contemporary kind of, I didn't actually know much about contemporary art until I got into that program. And then Luther taught us a lot more about contemporary artists,
Yeah.
and especially that exhibit as well.
Yeah. That was really I knew nothing about contemporary art. I just kind of had this perception of it being like a really like pretentious, like people just put a banana on the wall and they're like, that's art. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I was kind of like a little like, what is this gonna be? And then I like saw it and I was like, oh wait, this is not like that abstract. So it's like I can actually comprehend vaguely what's going on here at least. And that was nice. And then also just like I always thought it kind of had like no meaning or anything, but it actually has a lot.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, this isn't just art for the sake of like being random. So that was definitely new.
But I get what you mean though, because I had the same thoughts before, like when I was just learning art in general, and then sometimes I'd see other people's art that are really well known. I mean, I can't really say a specific artwork, nothing's coming to mind right now, but I just remember thinking that some people just make art and some people just make it famous for no reason.
Yeah.
but then I got into that program like at Plug In, and then it made more sense as you get to spend more time, um what do you call this, spend more time studying the art pieces.
Yeah. And also just like being around it more, and like also having like you and Hera to talk to you about it. Like that was super cool, because we were always just constantly bouncing ideas off of each other and interpretations and like sharing what we knew and stuff about that. So it was really exciting to
Yeah.
not just be looking at it and be thinking in my own mind, because like I got to hear so much cool different opinions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually helped that during that program, Hera was there, Jacob, and even Herlinda, like, because our group, like I said, and during the showcase, it was like, we all just flowed into the whole project, because our ideas were just naturally meshing well with each other.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was wondering more about like what did you do in your program and that kind of stuff. I'd love to hear about it.
So for the first couple sessions, we mostly went through the exhibit and just talked about the exhibit, and then after a couple of those sessions, Luther talked more about contemporary art and introduced a bunch of artists to us. Like he showed, what was her name? Marina.
I was never good at the names.
Marina, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, so a bunch of contemporary artists.
Were they a performance artist?
Yeah.
Most of them, but most of them are like falls under contemporary artists.
Okay.
So yeah, just to give us a sense of what exactly is contemporary art. And so that was like to help us create the piece that we were trying to do for the program.
Yeah. I really yeah, it was really with the whole beginning, like when we started and like just looking at it and stuff, that was really cool. But I had a lot more fun when we got later like into it and started hanging out at the BNC. We were like coming up and like sharing our ideas and stuff more thoroughly, and like really like brainstorming what we wanted to do and stuff. And like I don't remember, or I don't know if you remember the like whole writing exercise thing that we did.
Oh yes, we
Yeah,
also did that.
that was really fun. That
What was
like,
it?
so it was basically just like writing down words that we kind of, or like meanings that we had taken from it. It was mostly, for me at least, just like writing down words and stuff that we thought were relevant to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we basically like shared that, talked about why we thought those were relevant, and then like how could we incorporate that into the video we made and
Like
stuff.
I think we did it by the artist's artwork, right? Like for Asiniak's work, we chose a couple words that came to mind when we think about the piece, and then Kite's and Dana's as well. Like we sectioned it into 3 parts, and then we just shared our basically we made a word bank for it just to
Yeah,
have ideas going, so we could define what we want our piece to be in response to the exhibit.
yeah. I think the really fun part was also when we had gone on our walk and
Oh
we were filming some things and stuff, and we had like a rough plan for what we wanted to film that day, and we were doing that. But then we also went to the Forks, and just the whole time it was like just kind of hanging out. There's this one part with geese that was really funny because Herlinda was like very afraid of the geese, and we were all just like, yeah, let's sit next to the geese, and then they would like walk up and Herlinda would like run away. But that was really fun because that was when that the picture you had of for, what was it, it was like with the rocks and stuff.
Oh right. It was a drawing that I had in my poetry book. It's funny because the end piece of our video from the program, it came out so well. Like it was so well put. But it's funny because our whole time in the program, we were all just hanging out and conversing throughout, and then we just film whatever we could.
It was very intuitive. Like we
Yeah,
basically
exactly.
just came up. It was kind of like if you come up with like cue cards basically, and then you just kind of you read the like keyword and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna like talk for 15 minutes about this.
It was so spontaneous, and that's what I loved about it, because it was all just so natural. Like we had some planned concepts, we had ideas that were solid, but everything else, like the in-betweens, everything just flowed so well. Like nothing in my life has went that smoothly, and it was such an experience, and I loved it so much because everything was just perfect, like how the exhibit was was about how the exhibit was titled "When Veins Meet Like Rivers," and then the whole experience was sort of like a river because
because it flowed.
it just went forward, flowing all throughout, and then and how the group was also like, how do I explain this?
We meshed really well.
The group just meshed really well.
It like by the time the first, like, I guess, what was it, like, meeting or like whatever, by the time that was over, like, it was not awkward. It was just like, okay, we're talking, we're doing this, and it was just like hanging out with like any other friend, basically. So it was like really a very comfortable environment to be in and to be creating art in.
Everything fit together, and that makes me so happy because I'm glad that things kind of just fell into place doing this whole thing.
It was also
sorry, you can go ahead, no problem.
No, it's gonna be long, so you can just
I just in my life I find like there are some things that some situations where it seems like I have to like fight against things, and whenever I'm in that situation, I want to look at the other person like, it doesn't have to be this way. Like in the vast majority of my working situations and my friendships, it's like, it's not hard if you have respect for each other and if you're like in the moment and there. And I think like a big thing is like when you get out of your head and you're not constantly projecting your fears everywhere. You like can get into this place where you're just like, it's like much easier and you get to be intuitive and in the moment. And that's like, I'm so happy you all had that.
Yeah, I think going off of that kind of thing where it was just such a comfortable environment, and then that combined with basically like the whole thing being relevant to like Indigenous identity and stuff like that, that was actually really I guess therapeutic at the time, because I was going through some pretty rough stuff while we were doing that. And every time we met for like filming and stuff, especially when we like were smudging and stuff, it was really, really nice to just like have that break and to like really talk about like kind of deep subjects and like just really, really connect with other people. It was really, really nice. And like I think I really needed that at the time. So it was like very like, yeah, it just happened in like the best way possible, I think.
I agree. Because for me, at the time I was just new into my graphics program and some stuff were really overwhelming for me because I'm getting a lot of data into my head every time I go to school. And then I just go into the program at Plug In and it's like I can finally just lie low with these people that understand what I'm communicating with them.
Yeah, there was never any like pressure to like act a certain way, I guess, like, or like say the right things that you kind of have in a more like professional environment. Even though it was like definitely professional, it was like because it was art, we were kind of more allowed to talk about like just like every aspect of our lives, basically. And it was really personal and it was really nice to have that break from like the like professionalist, like showing no emotion and just going along with what people need you to do kind of thing. So that was really, really good.
Yeah, I always looked forward to it during the week because it's the time when I could finally like just talk to you guys and not think about anything else. Like I could be present in that moment and just be with the people who do art.
Yeah.
I was
And
wondering. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just need to say that your piece, it was so perfect that it's the first piece that you see when you walk into the art gallery, because it's like a good introduction into the whole exhibit. And I think everyone who participated in the Plug In program was saying
Yeah.
that was the piece that
That
they
was the one that we really like connected with, and just really like,
yeah.
we were always hanging out in that room
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
it was just so like, it just felt right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while you were talking about like situations in life that are hard, that shouldn't be hard, I thought about your piece again. Like that was the visual that popped into my head when you were talking about that, because in your piece you were fighting against the current at one point and then flowing with it in the next scene. And I feel like a lot of people related to that.
Oh yeah. The whole like resisting and submitting thing, that was like a very, we focused on that
Oh
like a
yeah.
ton, even with the video and stuff, like with filming it so that we were like walking against the flow of the Red River and then walking with it, and then like basically formatting the entire video around that concept. And like we basically just had like, tell one story where you resisted and one story where you submitted, and then that was like the basis for the whole thing. um and so that really helped ground us in what we wanted to do, because it was just like, this is definitely like the main theme that we connected with, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, when I was thinking of that piece and making that score, at first it was just it's like a simple phrase, but I think like you can, like, if you think about it, it can get so complex. And one of my favorite things, I think, is that just to like realize, like flipping a switch, but not everything is right or wrong. So like resisting something isn't always bad. It's not always good. There's different situations in your life where you resist, and sometimes, like, yeah, it can be good or bad or in between for you. And I feel like that was something really interesting about the idea.
And same goes for submitting. Like it doesn't always have to be bad, or it doesn't have to be good.
I think I don't remember exactly your stories, but I'm pretty sure they were positive, or at least generally like more like I know for mine they were both positive, or like at least the way I see it, I guess, is it was a more positive thing for both, like resisting and submitting, and like looking at the things that I've done. I like to be a more optimistic person in general, so I wanted to write from like a positive place, just because I felt also, again, it was very therapeutic, the whole program and the exhibit and stuff. So I was like, this is a good time to be like talking about things that made me happy and incorporating that. But it was, yeah, it was nice that it wasn't just like showing like resisting or submitting as being this one situation where it's like, well, submission is bad, or like resisting is bad, or it's good. It was more nuanced, I guess, in that sense, and it was really cool.
I'm glad that we left it into interpretation mostly. Like we didn't try to enforce a meaning to everything for our piece.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that kind of tool as an artist is a really, to me, like that's a tool that I value a lot, to empower people who are interacting with whatever you're making. Like, even though you might have an idea and you're saying something for a reason, right? You're bringing up a topic for a reason, and that's kind of your power. And then you leave part of the power into the hands of people coming to see your work so that they can also participate and have their own opinion and be a part of the artwork.
Yeah. That's so cool the way you put it, like they can become sort of a part of the art. That's so poetic. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Cause like that was the vibe that I got when I was there. It was like, this definitely doesn't have to be like perceived or like taken in one way. And I chose to sort of get the best that I could out of it. And that was really, really great. Sorry, my voice just cracked, but it was really great. But it was, yeah, it's really, it's nice because a lot of the time, I guess, more traditional artwork kind of has like just kind of a very blatant meaning, or like a very, like it has a goal sort of in like creating a very specific reaction for people. But with this, it was sort of like you get the reaction that you are supposed to have. It's up to you, sort of. And that was really nice.
I think that's what contemporary art intends for people. Like, compared to what you said, like compared to traditional art, contemporary art is like, it's more, the way I see it, when artists choose to do something contemporary, they have a specific goal. Like, they're telling a personal story that means something to them, but they present it in a way that allows the viewers to make it their own as well. Because the way they interpret the art is different from the artist's way of interpreting their art. And it allows for people to connect with the art the way they want to.
Yeah. I really like that. And I like the idea of it being a lot more like, I wouldn't say it's more interactive, but like in the sense that like it really, I feel like it's almost like when you see this like exhibit or something, you interact with it more than you would with just like a painting on the wall or something. Like it feels a lot more like it's not just telling you something, like you're almost having a conversation with it. I don't know how to really put it, but that's kind of the way I feel about it, is it's just more like interactive. I
love the idea of a conversation. I think that's how I want my art to be received, at least. And also the other thing is, have you ever seen the movie Inception?
Yes.
There's like a part of it. So like in Inception, you're trying to, like, the characters are trying to get someone to like do something, but they can't tell them. They have to like make it think it's their own idea to do the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that sometimes like in art making, there's also a certain level where it's Inception, where you're like putting something in front of people so that they can have their own experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be a specific action like in the movie, but you're trying to present something that makes someone have a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and some contemporary art is very in your face, just to really get a reaction out of you. And that's what I love about contemporary art, because it really, I feel like it challenges people to think deeper than the surface.
Yeah, because it really doesn't give any like answers. Like it just has sort of like vague implications almost. And then it's kind of like how people will talk about how when it comes to like film, it's like, oh, the curtains were blue because the character was sad. But it's like with this, it's like is much more like just toned down, I guess. So it's a lot more like you really have to think critically and like analyze it, and like there's no rules when you're thinking critically and analyzing too, so it's just like you can look at it and take what you want.
Yeah, it's more subtle than most things, I think, and that's what makes contemporary art interesting.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot in like our daily lives, we're told what we're supposed to be taking from things, what we're supposed to be doing. There's rules all the time on how you're supposed to like think, basically, I guess. That sounds very like 1984. I don't mean it like that, but just like but just like there's lots of different like we're kind of like not allowed, or like we're not allowed the time or the space to think too critically about things and like really like interpret things that like in a way that's like super specific to us and like stuff like that. Like we don't really, there's not a lot of introspection and stuff like that. So it was just it's really nice. Again, I think that was also why this like program was so comforting, was because it's like it's not like daily life where it's like you just go somewhere and you're told what to do and think and how to like communicate and just how to live. Basically, it's kind of more like this is you make out of it what you make out of it, and that's very like freeing and very nice.
Yeah, there's a lot more freedom in contemporary art, I would say, because there's not a specific order or structure that it follows. It is pretty intuitive, I think. Like it just goes with how you feel it should go.
Yeah.
Well, after this experience, what are you looking forward to trying out, or what are you inspired to do next?
Yeah. For me, definitely I really liked the like more critical thinking, the more interactive aspect of it. And I've always kind of known that I want my art in general that I make to be sort of like up to interpretation, and I've always left it very subtle. Um, but I've only really been thinking about it, I guess, in like a very like from the perspective of still like art has to have like a specific thing that people have to be able to tell from it, like with character design, you're supposed to like create a character that looks a certain way so that it conveys a specific meaning about the character and stuff like that. But now I'm kind of just a lot more intuitive with my art because I just want to like make it, I just want to, first of all, I just want to make what makes me feel the way I want to feel, you know? And I also just kind of want people to get out of it like whatever makes them feel good, I guess. So I've been doing that a lot more with my art, and it's actually really like helped me improve, I think, because I've really just been like not putting rules on what I draw or like what I'm sculpting and stuff like that. Like it's just do what makes you feel good in the moment. And so that's been really, really great. And like also just I've mainly focused on like drawing and like digital stuff, but now I'm doing a lot more um like photography related stuff, and just I love mixed media. Like I've really been exploring that more, and I think it's really just opened a new door for me when it comes to my art and my creativity. Like it's sparked a new interest in me because I've been into art since I was in like grade 6. And so you kind of get bored after like 6 years of that, I think, just drawing over and over again the same things. Like but now I've got like more than just that to do, and I'm not really enforcing as much on myself, and it's really, really exciting. So yeah.
So Nate, do you have any like plans to take your art to the next level, like career wise?
Actually, yeah. Which is kind of like I'll tell my teachers about this and they won't really get it. But like when it comes to like I guess city planning and architecture and stuff, like people don't really see people will see like architecture as artistic a bit more than they'll see city planning and stuff like that artistic. And one thing I've noticed is that it's so, I don't want to be rude, but it's very ugly. It's very, very ugly a lot of the time. And I want to kind of not just create this like boring, like concrete building out of like bricks and stuff like that, or like just have roads upon roads and just like adding more lanes and just making a mess of things. Like I really want to like, I want to make it effective because that's what you're supposed to do, obviously. Like that's the goal, is to engineer like a good thing. But I also want to incorporate more art into it, I think, because that can also make more people passionate about it and like kind of understand the importance of it. Like I really think art should be incorporated into more like STEM and stuff like that, because I think it ignites a passion in people, you know, and it can make like your emotions so much stronger and stuff. And I just think it's really good. So when it comes, like I've got like a Pinterest board for city planning and architecture and stuff, and I'm always adding new things and like drawing my own ideas. And it's just really like, I'm very excited to get into that because I really want to share it with other people, because I feel like people like new ideas, I hope. And so I know lots of people who are also into city planning and they're like, yeah, it is kind of boring. It would be very exciting if we had like more of an artistic look at it. So that kind of thing, just, yeah.
That's cool. My I don't know if it's considered good city planning, but it's very interesting city planning. My cousins are from a town called Kapuskasing, which is the city planners laid it out to look like a bicycle. So there's like a wheel and then like spokes for like the streets.
That's
So
cool.
It's interesting.
Yeah, there's really, see, that's one thing too, is I feel like a lot of the time people will either go hardcore on the like artistic aspect, or they'll just go super hardcore on the like making it as perfect and structured as possible. Like there's cities like Dubai where it's like it looks beautiful from a map, but then it's like they have like this one, they basically built on top of a coral reef, like they poured just basically a mountain of sand to create this design in the water basically, and then they have houses now there, and it's sinking about 2 inches a year, and it's destroyed this coral reef. And it's like, well, you didn't really think too critically about the long term. You just thought, oh, this looks pretty. And it's like, you could have made it look pretty and also effective. So it's like, yeah, I love, like, I just want to bring, like, I think a lot of people, especially like in North America, have this one perspective where it's like, it has to be the most effective and the most cost effective, like it has to be like the best that it can be on like a systemic level, I guess, or just like make it fast, make it work as well as possible. But I think it can do that and also not look incredibly boring and ugly all the time. So yeah.
Like, don't just make it practical, make it look artistic as
That's
well.
the word, practical. Yeah, I was looking for that word and I couldn't remember it, so thank you. But yeah, just like you can make things practical and not excruciatingly ugly.
I agree.
So
I agree. One of my favorite movements in that we like learn about in art history is a German movement, and it's like situated around a place called Bauhaus. Have you ever heard of it?
I don't think so.
So it's like it's all about functionality and beautiful design. So they made like chairs and cups and all this kinds of stuff, but they would make it always to be like beautiful and like functional. So like, you know, like if it's a teapot, like the teapot doesn't drip or like do things that it shouldn't do, but it should also
Yeah.
look beautiful, and it should always be like the melding of that. And I totally agree that I want more things in the world that are like that.
Yeah. I just looked it up on my phone, and like this is like, yeah, like this is the kind of thing that I think is what I want to do, is where it's a lot more just like, it doesn't have to be ugly. It can be functional and pretty. So
Yes.
yeah.
What about you, Clary?
For me, after this experience, like, right now I'm a post high in tech VOC, studying graphics, and I've always been planning ahead, even when I was like younger, and I've always wanted to get into visual arts, like after having a career in graphic design. So after that, I feel like I'll be doing a lot more contemporary art, but not just contemporary art, because I have other art that I want to explore as well. But yeah, so after my graphic design career, I'm thinking of focusing on my art. And I actually want to, like, I want to get my art into exhibits just so I could have like a bigger audience to see my art. So yeah, that's always been like what I've planned to do in my life.
Cool. What kind of art are you into right now?
Right now I've been more focused in my graphics program, so it's all digital, like I'm doing logos, and it's not that it's boring, but it's like structured.
Yeah.
And I'm always thinking logically that I'm just like, oh, I kind of miss just painting and letting my feelings pour into the page. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of what I miss lately, and I'm planning to set aside some time over this weekend to just do art traditionally instead of doing it on a computer.
That's nice.
Yes.
I get that. I graphic design, it is so structured that like it's the one thing that I'm like, I know how to do it and I took classes in it, but like even when I'm doing it, I definitely don't do it the way that I was really necessarily taught to, because I'm just like, this is not what I want to do. So yeah.
Well, for me, because I am planning to make it into a career, but that's why I'm like, I'm not really gonna be in the industry for that long. I just think that I kind of want to do it for a bit because I do enjoy it, but I don't think it's for long term.
Yeah. That's how I feel about like architecture and city planning too, is like while I'm learning, I will do whatever they want me to, but once I get to a certain point, I really want to, like, it is my final, my end goal is to really add more, not to just like keep doing what everyone else has been doing, I guess, and really contribute something new and something, I guess, just beautiful or like good. I'd really like to do that with that.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't know if I said that well, but
that's great, Nate, that you have this vision for city planning.
thank you.
I think that's what's great about generations, like every time there's a new generation, we just keep on leveling up, putting new things to the table kind of stuff.
Yeah. I again, it's hard to be optimistic in like, I guess 2020, it's 2022 now. It's really hard to be optimistic, I think, for a lot of people, especially younger people. But I try to see like the best in humanity and like see the best in myself so that I can really contribute the best that I can. And just like, I really think people are they're upset for very valid reasons, obviously, with like climate change and stuff, and like capitalism, all of that. It's like definitely not a great system we've got, but I think I also have a lot of hope because I think people are really smart and creative in this generation, and I'm sure it's going to be even more with newer generations. And I have a lot of hope in humanity that we can kind of get it together and keep doing good things.
Yes, I agree with you. I feel like that's what art is useful for, like giving more hope to this world, because a lot of things bring us down, and it's just when artists use art as a platform to give more positivity to the world. I think that's what's great about it.
It really ignites passion and
Yes.
optimism in people, I think. And it just, I think really humans need art a lot more than we give it credit for and stuff. And that's why I talk about things like STEM and stuff, and incorporating art into that is just like, we are so structured in our day-to-day lives because we're taught that structure is way more important than creativity and stuff like that. But I think that there's a balance, and I think we need to be more creative and incorporate that into things more, because I think it's very important for us as human beings, basically.
Yeah, I think that our mental health is a lot more important than we act like it is.
Yeah.
And allowing ourselves to be creative and to express ourselves and to put our feelings on the page every once in a while, it's a really important thing to be able to do, to like be regulated, like emotionally regulated human beings who can be like positive impact on people around us and the world. And also, when you ignite that creativity, it helps you be able to figure out some problems that maybe otherwise you wouldn't be able to. So like the creativity and the artistry is important in so many ways.
Yeah, it really it presents new solutions and new perspectives. Like, that's very important. So yeah, I think art should be valued a lot more in society, which I know it is valued, like with media and stuff, but from like, I guess a working perspective, or like a improving a humanities perspective, I just think it's a lot more important than we give it credit for.
Maybe in like a daily ritual kind of like personal relationship with art, maybe that kind of way is one of the ways where it's like not maybe as valued.
Yeah, because there's like stuff like art therapy and stuff.
Yes.
Like, I know people who that's like worked way better than just regular like going and getting like talking to someone who doesn't really know you or care about you, and then getting prescribed a certain regimen or like medications and stuff. Like, like stuff like art can actually really help, I think, with that kind of thing. Obviously, it's not the only thing. Like, still see professionals, but like, I think it goes a long way in helping, and we often forget that. So yeah.
I think this is a perfect note to end on. And I had an amazing time talking with the both of you. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah,
Thank you
for having us. And it was so nice to meet you.
You too.
Yeah. It was really, really nice to talk to you and stuff. Your voice is very relaxing.
Yes. Actually, everything about this podcast is relaxing.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon, guys.
When Veins Meet Like Rivers is hosted and recorded by Katinniq, Dana Danger, and Kite.
Special guests on this episode include Clary, Ines, and Nate Jensen.
Our intro and outro song is an original score produced by Kite. Podcast art by Katinniq. This podcast is presented by Plug In Institute of Contemporary Art. You can find a link to the Plug In website in our show notes. We are produced by Collective Broadcast Co., an artist-run collective specializing in tech and live stream solutions. You can find the link to their website in our show notes. This episode is supported by Plug In ICA's generous donors, including the Directors Circle, Canada Council for the Arts, the Manitoba Arts Council, the Winnipeg Arts Council, and MB150. It's a great day to be Indigenous. Bama peace.